Hello, welcome to this week's devotion. My name is Jamie Toscani. The verse for this week is Colossians 3:17. In whatever you do in word or deed, do it all in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. I remember when I was a UTC student here in Chattanooga and took this extra credit assignment for my music class. My assignment was to attend a symphony concerto at the Memorial Auditorium, and it was a unique concerto that night. It was a real treat because they introduced a special Russian conductor that was traveling with them that actually wrote the concerto. So the lights go down, the curtain unravels, the symphony begins, and I began seeing all the woodwinds in the background, the flute, the piccolo, the clarinet, the oboe, the bassoon, and I start to hear the strings slowly come in and watch as the harpists had the look of agony on their faces as they were deeply moved by their own piece of the symphony. The brass starts to take on the lead, and I love the sound of the brass, the French horns, the trombone, and the trumpet, all while the percussion start pounding away. And the guy on the timpani, he was awesome. I mean, he was just wailing away on it, and I just looked in awe, seeing how fast he played. His hands moved so fast, he was like a hummingbird in flight. And then the guy on the cymbal, he would start clashing loudly that mimicked thunder. But in all the overwhelming tones and noise, one little fella caught my attention the most. So I focused to this guy in the percussion section. I mean, he's standing there quietly, not drawing much attention, not doing hardly anything. And I wondered if he even had an instrument with him, or if he was even a musician at all. And it was about maybe 30 minutes into the piece, and he hadn't lifted a finger. I mean, he was dressed in a tuxedo, and I started listening to the rolls and the crescendos, and I'm watching as the symphony swelled and built, but there stands this little guy doing absolutely nothing. So I'm staring at this guy, and after about 35 minutes, he finally starts to move around, and I get to the edge of my seat, and I know something's about to happen. So with excitement and anticipation, this guy locks eye with the conductor. He reaches down in front of him and picks up this triangle on a metal rod, and he just hits it, makes it go ding, and then he casually puts it back down. I get excited, and I'm thinking, wait, what? That's all? Something just doesn't seem right with that. I mean, by now, most of the musicians have been slinging sweat, tired from the movement, and all this guy does is ding one time and nothing else. But now, let me tell you exactly what he was doing. He was doing exactly what the composer wanted him to do. He was doing exactly what the conductor asked him to do. And the beautiful musical and the man that wrote it and composed it had a certain ding in mind when he wrote it. And in about 35 minutes of a 2-hour-long symphony, he even had one ding in mind, and the person picked out for it. And he wasn't blowing a trombone or beating a drum. He was just holding a single triangle. But his ding meant just as much as any other musician up on that stage, because it was what the conductor wanted and what the composer had asked for. I'm sure someone listening to this out there could feel neglected, maybe looked over, passed over for promotion. You could be stuck at a small business account somewhere over the mountains and the valleys. You could feel far away and disconnected from all this COVID. You might be someone's assistant's assistant and feel like the company is so large and no one knows who you are and what you do. But let me tell you that you are the ding in God's master plan of salvation. And you can fulfill your purpose right where you are. See, everybody can't be the next Billy Graham, Bill Gates, Stephen Hawkins, but everybody can bang and ding for the glory of God. So make your mark and flourish right where you're at. And do you want to know the amazing thing was about that musician that only dinged one time was? He got paid just as much as any other musician on stage. Even the musician that was playing the timpani, beating it fast like a hummingbird, they all got the same. And he didn't even break a sweat. He just swatted it one time and got paid the same thing for the concerto. See, when you get to heaven, there's not going to be sections for dingers and one for trombonists and a place for Billy Grahams. When we're all there together, all they're going to want to hear from the composer and the conductor is, well done, well done. If I could hear the composer say to this musician, well done, thy good and faithful servant. And in the end of that concerto, every musician who was part of the symphony stood up and bowed, and the conductor personally thanked each and every one of them. No more, no less, regardless of the sweat and tears, regardless of how one may have done more than the rest or one may have done less than the others. That concerto was a huge success because they followed the steps in the process and did what they were expected to do. All their work was worth it in the end. To hear the composer conductor say, "Well done, well done." So whatever you do, do it to the best of your ability for God's glory. And if you just got one ding, then ding with fire, ding with passion, but just ding. I hope you enjoyed this week's devotion.